What's happening YouTube? My name is Alex and welcome to a new review. For today I have a brand new TV box called the Ugoos UT6, and this is among the first TV boxes that has the Wechip V5 and Android 6.0.1. Now keep in mind that this CPU is not that powerful, so this is basically an entry-level CPU. Aside from that, we have 2 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of internal storage, dual band Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Now price-wise, I'm just gonna say that the pricing on this thing it's insane, so if you wanna check it out, there will be some links in the video's description. The UT6 comes in a very good looking box. On the front we see the brand name and the model name, and turning the box around you're gonna find the specifications. Inside you're gonna find the device itself. You're also gonna find an HDMI cable, an USB to USB cable, also the power adapter, a remote control, but I do recommend using a wireless keyboard and mouse, and lastly the user manual. The user manual is in English and it's got a lot of pictures. The device itself, it's made out of metal entirely, and it does look and feel very premium. So on top of that metal we have some type of rubber finish, and I have to say that I haven't seen that for quite some time. On to the left we actually have a power button and an external antenna, and on top we actually have the brand name, and one of the letters in there actually lights up whenever the device is on. On the right hand side you're gonna find 2 USB ports. We also have the AV out, a button to reset the TV box, and lastly the SD card slot. And since we are talking about SD cards, yes, this device can take an SD card as internal storage because we have Android 6.0.1 running on it. As for the internal storage, out of that 16 gigs of internal storage that comes with this device, we have about 12 left, but the speeds that I got for the internal storage are quite good. On the back we have the network adapter port, 2 other USB ports, the HDMI out, optical audio, and lastly the port for the power adapter. Now, even though there is an optical audio output, we cannot actually use it, so there are no settings anywhere on the device to actually change the sound output. So the sound is always going through the HDMI, and we've seen the exact same thing for the other TV box with the Wechip 3229. So I'm guessing that Wechip needs to improve their software, mostly on Android 6.0.1. So at this time you cannot use the optical audio on this device. I've also checked the download speeds over the dual band Wi-Fi and over a wired connection. The speeds that I got are good, but not the best that I've ever seen. Performance wise, as I said before at the beginning, the Wechip 3229, it's not a powerful CPU by any means. So the scores that I got on the Antutu Benchmark, on the Geekbench 4 and the iStorm Extreme are among the lowest that I have ever seen for any TV box. So if you're looking for a box with great performance, you should probably skip this one because the scores on those are very low. Aside from that, we don't get root access from the factory, and based on the digital rights management information that I got, you won't be able to watch Netflix in HD. And one last thing I wanted to mention before we go any further, so even though the Google Play Store works good, a lot of apps are not available for this device on the Google Play Store. So you're gonna search for a whole bunch of apps and well, they're not available on this device. However, you can actually sideload all those apps, so I'm not sure why they're not available on the Google Play Store, because they do actually work on the device. Now that you've seen how this looks and you have a better idea about its performance, I'm gonna start recording the screen. We'll play a couple of games, we'll try a few video files, I'm gonna show you the launcher and so on, so you have a better idea how this would perform for day-to-day tasks. First of all, the TV box comes with a choice of 2 launchers, so this is one of them and then we have another one. To actually get to the other one, you have to go to settings here, then choose more settings. So go to more settings and then choose home right here, and then you can select the second launcher. I don't actually like the second launcher that much, and I definitely prefer the first one, but it really depends from person to person. Some of you may actually like this one more, but I definitely like the first one. We also have the navigation bar at the bottom of the screen, and you can hide this and then you can bring this back up, and that means that we also have the notification tab on top. For apps, we don't really get that many apps pre-installed, so we get the browser, we get the calculator, the camera. This is Kodi 16.1 right here. It's called something different, but it's basically Kodi 16.1. And we also get the Play Store and the YouTube app, so not that many apps that come pre-installed. The settings app looks very similar to the settings app that we've seen in the past. Here at network you can either connect to the Wi-Fi or through a cable. A display, you can basically change the screen resolution and the screen rotation and position. So the screen resolution, this is the maximum resolution supported for my TV, but that may be different depending on the TV that you have. If we click on about here, we can see the model name basically and the Android version, which is Android 6.0.1. For languages, like most Android devices, we have a lot of languages available, and I'm just gonna scroll through them and hopefully you can see the one that you may be interested in, but definitely a lot of languages that are available. We also have something that we haven't seen before on any other TV box, so these are the Ugoos settings. However, there aren't any settings that may actually be useful in here, so realistically nothing useful in these settings here. And for hardware it's basically the exact same thing, so nothing that useful. And again, we have the more settings tab right here, but again, this is the exact same settings that we've seen for other Rockchip devices in the past. So everything that's different, it's the display out here, but realistically it's just the same thing that we've seen over and over in the other settings part of the TV box. So not that much that we can actually change in here. The UT6 seems to do a good enough job for multitasking with the 2 gigs of RAM that we have available. So most apps that you're gonna have in the background are gonna be running in the background and the TV box will not actually close them. So that's a very good thing. On the YouTube app, at least for my TV, the maximum resolution is 1080p at 60 frames per second, and as you can probably tell, the videos do seem to go very smooth, so no issues with the YouTube app. As I mentioned before, this comes pre-installed with Kodi 16.1, however it's called the RKMC. If I go to System here and System Info, we can see some information about the device. So we only have about 4.4 gigs of RAM available at this time, and some other information that may be useful for some of you. So no add-ons that are pre-installed, however I did install a couple just so you can see how Kodi performs. So let's click on this one for example and see if we can get something going. And let's try this one here, and I guess we'll try this one. Kodi will work good on pretty much any device available, and you can probably tell it did start right away, and it does work very good. So I don't really see any issues with Kodi on this device because Kodi does work on basically any device out there. Since we have Kodi opened, we are gonna check out a few video files from here. So let's start with the first one. So let's see how well this one does. And I'm just gonna skip forward. And as you can probably tell, it does seem to do fairly good. I'm gonna skip forward a bit more. I like the fact that it's nice and bright because on the Logic S912 we've all seen that the image is a bit darker. So very nice and bright on this one for sure. So this one seems to do fine. Let's move to the next file, and this one is gonna be the next file here. And we see some green screen, and well, it doesn't look good at all. And this is the exact thing that happened on the Rockchip 3399 if I remember correctly. Let's move to this 4K file at 59 frames per second. And this one seems to do very good in fact. So I wasn't actually expecting that this one would do this good, but it does seem to work pretty good. So yeah, no issues whatsoever with the 4K at 60 frames per second basically. Look at that detail, wow. So I'm very happy to see that the 4K files actually work on this device. The next one is another 4K file at 50 frames per second. And this one also does do very good. So I'm just gonna skip forward again. Look at that detail. So really nice for 4K files for sure. Maybe it doesn't go totally smooth, you can probably see, no, maybe it was just me. No, I think it does work pretty good. Alright, so we'll skip to the next file. The next file is a 720p file, and this one should do fine without any issues. I'm just gonna skip forward. And as I was expecting, it does do very good. And yeah, I think the image quality is much better than the on the Logic TV boxes. So much brighter on this one, I believe. Okay, so we'll stop that one, we'll move to this one. And this one I'm just gonna skip right to the end like I always do. And this one seems to do very good as well. So let's move to the next one, this one being the next one. And once again, this one works very good as well. And this is a 4K file that was filmed with my phone some time ago. And as you'd expect, this one does good, because if the other ones did okay, I don't see why that one wouldn't work. This file we're not even gonna try because it's not gonna work, so I clicked on it but nothing is happening, but that's quite normal in fact. And I have a 1080p file here as well, which we're gonna try. And this one also does do very good. As you can probably tell at the beginning, when you skip somewhere, it kind of like fast forwards for like a second, but after that it recovers. But overall, I'm quite impressed about how well all these video files actually worked on this Wechip 3229. Gaming on the Wechip 3229, it's definitely not the best experience. As you can probably tell, I'm playing Real Racing 3 and everything is happening in slow motion, so a lot of skipped frames and it's basically impossible to play. I'm just gonna let this play for a bit so you have a better idea about the gaming performance for this device. Alright, and it's time to conclude this video. So this CPU, it's not the most powerful out there and you can tell that for yourself. However, most video files did do very good on this CPU. The Wi-Fi works very well on the device because we have the external Wi-Fi antenna, but the price of this device is just insane. So you can definitely buy a whole bunch of other TV boxes for that money. So because of that price, I can't exactly recommend this TV box because it's just too expensive for what it is. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, don't forget to press that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.